They're all talking about age. That was his problem, they said, his age. I'm not a doctor, but it's so obvious. The world knew it. Why did all these media people report on it? Hey, Richard Cole again. Rich is talking. And there's so much going on. My God, I can't keep up with it all. But let's try to get into some of the meat that came out. Still talking about Joe Biden. There's a lot going on right now. First of all, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, pretty serious, which is metastasized to the bone. That is very serious, prostate cancer. And my heart goes out to him and his family. It's not anything that anybody would want to go through. I had prostate cancer myself. I was able to get it early, had the gland removed, and that was 15 or 18 years ago, and everything's fine. It also was strange that they released that the same time that released the audio tapes of when Biden was investigated about having the confidential documents in his garage.
The classified documents were found throughout Biden's Delaware home, in file cabinets, in his basement, even in his garage, basically among junk. Heard says that Biden shared some of that information with a ghostwriter of his memoir.
If you remember, all reports said he was an old man suffering from memory problems. That was by Mr. Hur, the prosecutor.
The evidence suggests that Mr. Biden did not willfully retain these documents and that they could plausibly have been brought to these locations by mistake. Another factor in Hur's decision was Biden's inability to answer certain questions, apparently because he simply could not remember. He described Biden's memory as hazy and that he might come across to a jury as, quote, sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly, a man with a poor memory.
He was criticized by the left, even Kamala Harris. They all just tore him apart for saying that, those comments about Biden. So now the audio tapes have come out, which the Biden administration refused to release. Now that we have a Republican government in, they're releasing them. And he slurs his words. He doesn't know what's going on. He can't remember when his son died. He can't remember when he was vice president. He can't remember any of the years. It just proves how bad the left was covering up his cognizant shortcomings. It's very, very, very interesting now that I think I touched on it before, that Jake Tapper, not one of my favorite broadcasters. He's on CNN. He was so nasty to Laura Trump. Turned out Laura Trump was absolutely right. So here's a little snippet from Megyn Kelly, who was giving Tapper royal hell. Megyn, I've said before, is the best podcaster out there. And she can say whatever she wants, and she's her own boss. And she's very, very smart, very sharp. So listen to this.
You're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline.
And it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel sorry for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure it was from a place of concern. We all believe that. Laura Trump, thank you so much.
Do you want to apologize to Laura Trump now?
I've already apologized to her. I called her months ago.
And what did she say?
I mean, I don't want to disclose the contents of a private conversation, but I thought the conversation went well. And she said, she has said this publicly, so I feel fine sharing it. She said that she would never mock anybody's stutter. But I mean, after we did the research for this book and I realized how bad his acuity issues were, I called Laura Trump and I said, you were right.
She was totally right. That's the thing, because when I watched that clip, and I'm giving voice to what a lot of people watching the show are feeling, Jake, I feel angry because she was right. And not only did you not allow her to make her comments, but you seemed to try to humiliate her. You had a hostility toward the position, but she was totally right. And then you lectured her on how she was in no position to diagnose cognitive decline, which you guys do at length, including on page 4 of your book. You describe at length his cognitive decline, which is all she tried to do with you. But you had such a visceral reaction to her. And my feeling is that's because you didn't want to hear it.
No, I'm happy to talk about this. I didn't come here thinking that you weren't going to ask me about this. I'm happy to talk to you about it. And as I said, Her comments have aged well. My comments have aged poorly. I own that. But I think what is significant is, in addition to me owning that, the reporting that Alex and I have done, which is beyond just, and when I say just, I don't mean to diminish it, but the comments of Joe Biden making gaffes, saying things stupid, tripping, are all important and all deserved to be aired and all deserve scrutiny. But as you know, Megan, because even though you look 30 years younger than me, we're roughly the same age, Joe Biden has been saying stupid things for decades. Okay.
I get what you're saying, but this minimizes it too, because it was more than saying stupid things. But I'm telling you, like over here in my ecosphere, we were covering all of these. It wasn't just falling down; it was getting lost. It was some of the stuff you report in your book. We knew, and we were reporting on, like the multi-jump cuts in the videos of him, or it was obvious he couldn't get through a 1-minute take. So they had to use those. It was clear to us that he was using teleprompter and there was some reporting on that at the time, all of which the White House was denying. Now, with the current White House, I have some connections. With the Joe Biden White House, I had none, but you did. You did. And so while you've been in Washington 30 years, Jake, you and CNN have White House connections, but there was no effort. None to get to the bottom of this. And now for you guys to write this book, like there was a cover up. It's like there was a cover up and there was an attempted cover up. It could only ever work if you allowed it.
I'm so happy seeing Megyn Kelly doing this to him. He's just a smart ass as far as I'm concerned. But the other thing I want to talk about when it comes to Biden, they're all talking about age. That was his problem, they said, his age. Let me tell you something. I am 4 years older than Biden. I can remember things that went on much better than he can. I do have trouble remembering the name of a restaurant I went to, but so do my friends. That just goes on all the time. That's life. But what Biden couldn't remember, like when he was vice president, that's going to be tough. So stop concentrating on age. It wasn't age with him. It was cognizant of shortcomings. And everyone has to admit that he was suffering from dementia. There's no doubt about that. I'm not a doctor, but it's so obvious. The world knew it. Why didn't all these media people report on it? Because they didn't want Trump to win. That's why. They were helping him, even though it's bad for the country. So, Jake Tapper, you get what you deserve with Megyn Kelly. Well, that's pretty much it for today. I've got other stuff that we're working on tomorrow. This, as I said, Trump just keeps on going, providing us with all this news to talk about. So goodbye for now.